Imagine if I told you that even people involved in the cryptocurrency world are jumping on the silver market now. It's true, and this will alter the course of events. Take a look at this. Maxim Kaiser resurrects the silver wave. The vocal proponent of Bitcoin is making waves again with a renewed appeal to buy actual silver. X is currently considering selling all of his XRP for silver, according to this tweet. Suddenly, everything changes when Wall Street Gold tweets. Crypto glossed over $30 in silver. Now they're jumping on board as it gets close to $50. That is the standard procedure in every case. The public requires proof that silver may rise in price. There is a delay in their entry. Tragically, they will wait for it to take off before getting in, which goes against all logic. It is expected that you enter before to the curve. It just did what it was meant to do, so you better hurry in. We did it because we were true silver stackers and knew how much silver was worth. Because I knew it would do this eventually, I was yelling at people to buy it when it was $11 in March of 2020. If silver were $11, many people would never touch it with a 10-foot stick. But when Bitcoin was at its all-time high, they would buy it. See how important it is for people to feel validated? It needs to be shown growing higher for them. That's because they're investing emotionally rather than rationally, and they have no idea what silver is really worth. Investments are made with logic, not emotion, excluding the cognitive, emotional decision-making process. Regardless, silver is still inexpensive at $50 right now. Thankfully, they are exchanging something with real value, wealth, for something that only exists in digital form, cryptocurrency. To begin, let me say that this is tremendous news. Because gold is a far larger market than silver, and because of the advent of cryptocurrencies, we discussed how a paradigm shift might occur if the gold market began to influence the silver market. A large number of individuals are eager to get this tangible metal. There is a known and enormous silver scarcity, which is having a direct impact on the price. As far as anyone can tell, the stars are aligning for silver to do something that no asset has ever done before and likely never will. And the world is beginning to take note of it. Crashing cryptocurrency prices. The announcement by US President Trump of comprehensive 100% tariffs on all Chinese imports caused the cryptocurrency market to crash on Friday, October 10th. Major exchanges saw enormous liquidations as Bitcoin, altcoins, and leveraged instruments all fell by double digits. Fearing resumption of trade conflicts and a catastrophic collapse in global liquidity, investors rushed to riskier assets, leading analysts to declare a disastrous day for digital assets. All the while, silver prices are skyrocketing. Because of this, silver is often considered a secure investment. The asset of gold is security. Safe haven asset is not a term used lightly when describing Bitcoin. Yeah, it's all over the place. Even though it isn't directly tied to the dollar, when discussing something with inherent worth, such as a coin, it's impossible to go wrong. The value of the coin is in the 1 ounce of silver it contains, not in the price tag or the spot price. What matters is that the coin itself is valuable. But first and foremost, I want to say hello. Much obliged for stopping by for your daily dose of silver news. Hello, I am Silver Slayer. Be sure to click the subscribe button if you would want to receive the most recent updates regarding global events and their impact on the price of precious metals, particularly silver. Given the current state of affairs, subscribing is an absolute must. Every day at noon and 6 o'clock, I upload 2 videos. Time zone, Eastern. This video's release time is going to be somewhat after 6 o'clock. I know that much. However, I do my best to hit it and remain faithful to those times. 12 and 6 are also Eastern Standard Time. Plus, a lot of people will be exposed to precious metals for the first time. Because this is going to be blatantly obvious when premiums start to truly climb, as silver becomes more scarce, I will likely record a video shortly on how to invest securely without being ripped off, conned, or taken advantage of. These businesses and individuals will take advantage of the influx of new investors. But that's just shooting fish in a barrel. There are other problems too. Because there will be a flood of first-timers who have no idea where to shop, sites like Miles Franklin are unknown to them. It was completely unknown to them. It's likely that they will find nothing but horror stories when they search on sites like eBay, Craigslist, or Facebook Marketplace. But anyhow, I think it would be best if we just dive into this essay. It appears that cryptocurrency is collapsing. At this moment, I would prefer to observe silver's actions before making any decisions. The price of silver is $50.09. At 4,017, gold is trading hands. Yesterday, the price of silver reached an all-time high of $51.00 with a total of what seemed like 24 cents. Yes, this H-shaped peak is visible from this location. With an H, we get 51.24. The voltage is 49.61 volts. Here we will examine the cryptocurrency pricing, specifically Bitcoin. The price of Bitcoin is $111,000 now. The most recent time I checked, it was around 120 or so. Behold that massive red candlestick. So now everyone is going to sell their Bitcoin and buy silver instead. He is considering trading all of his Ripple XRP for silver, as stated in this tweet up there. For example, several of these individuals have amassed vast fortunes in the cryptocurrency market as a result of Bitcoin's recent surge in value. Silver will soon follow suit. Since this rally is also on the horizon, it stands to reason that you should capitalize on the gains you've already gained from the previous one. It is reasonable. In any case, silver prices are skyrocketing. A huge short squeeze has disturbed precious metals trading around the world, and as a result, silver prices in London have risen above $50 for the first time since 1980. In order to satisfy the delivery expectations of London in the face of high borrowing rates and insufficient liquidity, traders are bringing physical bars from places like Singapore and New York by air. This rise, which marks a 70% year-to-date rally, followed 7 years of supply imbalances caused by industrial demand and various other factors, including solar panels, military batteries, artificial intelligence, anatomy, electronics, and investment in the face of economic instability. Well, I guess we can find out how Bitcoin does from day to day. Where is that demonstrated? It demonstrates that in some way. Oh, that's right. Every day it rises by 18%. Year to date, silver prices are up 70%. This is the meat and potatoes of the matter, so okay, whatever. Max Kaiser, one of the most powerful public personalities, is here today. Never forget to crash JP Morgan by purchasing silver. It is still possible to destroy the banks by purchasing silver. In an effort to counter JP Morgan's rumored massive and potentially manipulative short positions in the silver market, a viral social media and marketing campaign known as Max Kaiser, Crash JP Morgan, Buy Silver, went live in 2010 or so. The campaign urged the public to purchase actual silver. In Kaiser's view, JP Morgan would be put under pressure to reveal their short positions in the silver market if large quantities of the metal were to be stacked, as this would push the price higher. A short squeeze, and the wider message about the fragility of fiat money might be triggered at $50 per ounce, which is both a symbolic and practical aim. This reminds me of the Hunt brothers. To be honest, in their case, they were also attempting to expose the hand of JP Morgan in order to drive up prices, and this is almost like a publicity stunt to let people know what's really going on with your money. The campaign's message of defiance reached even more stackers and investors thanks to the widespread adoption of the Buy Silver Crash JP Morgan phase, and the subsequent minting of commemorative silver rounds coins. Restoring accountability and disrupting Wall Street manipulation were the goals of the movement, which combined financial activism with anti-bank sentiment and a push towards hard money principles. Here we have it: Max Keiser, collapsing banks, and silver purchases. In 2011, when silver was on the verge of hitting $50 once again, there was a worldwide uprising against corporate occupation, as stated on the back. Was Max Keiser a Christian convert? Somewhat did. I see what you're saying. A large number of people, including myself for an instant. For those who have been following my work for a while, you may recall that I first focused just on silver. However, in 2016, I became heavily invested in Bitcoin and Litecoin. Bitcoin and Litecoin were very profitable for me. Since the hardcore silver stackers took exception to my frequent cryptocurrency-related posts on this channel, I went so far as to create a second channel named Crypto Slayer. As it turned out, they were right. I was kind of switching gears. I was still creating silver material, but my whole attention was directed towards Bitcoin. Quite a bit of education was mine. For those new to Bitcoin, I made a video that went viral and ranked first on YouTube, explaining everything from how to use Coinbase securely to how to use a cold wallet, an offline storage option. Regardless, I followed Max's lead, but I eventually returned to my roots and no longer mentioned Bitcoin. Honestly, Bitcoin isn't my main concern. I returned and removed the blindfolds. The point is, it appears that Max is also doing it at the moment. In any case, he was an early and outspoken supporter of Bitcoin after seeing its decentralized, disruptive, and potentially revolutionary potential to dethrone fiat banking supremacy. He predicted a mass exodus and called for astronomical price targets on multiple occasions. Many silver stackers, however, have jumped on the Bitcoin bandwagon as a means of achieving financial independence and digital gold after Keiser's departure from the conventional banking system. Maximilian Keiser is once again endorsing silver, so yes. In a social media poll, Max asked his followers to vote for this on Twitter. I refuse to call it X, so I apologize to my nitpicky reading base. America is rapidly devolving into a society in disarray. Which option is the most effective if you find yourself stranded in a dystopian wasteland and must negotiate a challenging situation involving hostiles? Among these, silver, gold, Bitcoin, or US dollars. Is this for real? In their minds, Bitcoin is the way to go. Number. Silver would be the best in dystopian land, since that demonstrates it right there. Silver is the right choice. A handful of 10,000th or 4,000th coins might be the difference between life and death in a silver war. Sure, I understand. Junk silver is ideal for this use due to its fractional silver content. Is there a way to deal with items that are smaller than an ounce when you only have coins that weigh 1 ounce? I thought you were going to bring your chainsaw to the coin. Are you going to thin it out by shaving off little bits? Yeah, that's exactly why you need to consider junk silver, an artifact from the United States past. Isn't it lawful tender? In other words, it is not a private mint round. This is an actual coin. Dimes, quarters, half dollars, and 10th ounces are all on the table. My favorite are Mercury dimes. Walking Liberty half dollar is super fun for me. I love Barber quarters. An artifact from the United States past. It's just ideal. In my opinion, the majority of people that are prepared for a SHTF scenario hold worthless silver. For good reason, most survivalist stacks consist of eagles and worthless silver. Here are a few more posts by Max that support silver. Because the LBMA was keeping an eye on the silver market's tightness, JP Morgan was able to avoid buying silver at $50. On this occasion, I seriously doubt they will be able to thwart market forces. On October 10th, LBMA stated that it is closely watching the silver market tightness. Tweets about it circulated. His subject is David Bateman. That is the one who purchased 1,000-ounce COMEX bars for $1 million. No, I mean $1 billion. Exactly 1 billion with a capital B. It appears as though he went crazy after purchasing $1 billion worth of silver on the COMEX, converting it into physical delivery, and then photographing it all in a warehouse. Afterwards, he proceeded to list 9 distinct advantages of silver. According to David Bateman, the issue with the current financial system is that not enough people have seen the physical manifestation of God's money, the energy and power that flows via physical gold and silver bars. That's absolutely right. Assuming I hold this, I can feel something. Can I? Something is off with this. How enchanted. This exists beyond our planet. Here, silver was brought in by comets and meteors. Thus, the entire universe is being discussed. Of all the metals in the universe, silver has the highest electrical conductivity. Water is made purer by silver. There is nothing in the cosmos more clean than water. That is cleansed by silver. Give that some thought. Silver can even purify the purest of things. It is the money of God, you know. The presence of A-list actors like David Bateman and Max Kaiser enhances the overall experience. It is early yet. It might be too late by the time you notice Taylor Swift blaring a silver horn. Which leads me to a crucial point. I see. Indeed, you make an excellent point. The majority of individuals will arrive after the fact. After the fact. As a result, most individuals will wait until it's too late to start stacking. Lots of people will get on the silver bandwagon, but they won't grasp the real worth of silver, I assure you. They have ulterior motives. As if this were a ploy to become rich fast. Things like the wrong kinds of silver will likely end up in their shopping carts. I see. They're going to start purchasing semi-numismatic items with a high premium that will be quite difficult to sell. Investing in silver for its metal value alone, rather than in it for its numismatic value, which is acceptable, is missing the purpose. But the vast majority of players will make poor decisions when stacking and end up broke. Because they lack faith in silver and are confused about its value, they will ultimately experience a small decline, and then they will sell in a panic. Thus, they will pay a premium for it and then sell it at a loss, since they won't be patient enough to wait for the price to rise again after selling. That is why it is imperative that you exercise caution. That is why I intend to resume producing an abundance of instructional content. Keep in mind that you do not own anything if you are unable to physically hold it. Furthermore, it is not always the case that one can afford to purchase an item simply because it is available for purchase. There's more to it than that. Thus, yes. Whatever the case may be, I will now end this video. This is a fantastic piece of writing. I couldn't agree with you more. Considering trading all of my XRP for silver is a real possibility. A lot of people will start doing that, I'm afraid, since they want in on the action. Thus, yes, I will now conclude this video. Keep an eye out for more updates. The upload time for tomorrow's video is 12 COND Eastern Standard Time. My posting times are 12 noon and 6 p.m. Time zone, Eastern. My daughter and I are now involved in a custody dispute, and you can provide a hand if you're interested. Similar to what I've had, I'm attempting to secure joint parenting. It is a tragic scenario, but I cannot go into detail about it. I've been psychologically clinging on for dear life, which is why I set up a GoFundMe. The legal fees are pretty high, therefore I would be very grateful if you could chip in to help me pay them. In any case, I'm fine with it. This is going to take a very long time, so I would be eternally grateful if you could spare the time to accomplish it. I simply have to ensure that I can keep up with the legal bills going forward. Thus, yes, I would be eternally grateful. There is a designated fund for all contributions made toward legal fees. I'm not only paying bills or anything with it. The legal fees are the only beneficiary of the contributions. Doing so is the morally correct thing to do. All I did was merely, well, listen up. Since it is still ongoing, I prefer not to discuss it too much. I mean, sure, I would be eternally grateful if you could lend a hand. The name was Silver Slayer, however. Tomorrow at noon, I will meet with all of you. No war.